The success of the research project depends on if the results of the 6-month experiment support the early hypothesis. I wonder if that should be 6-month experiment. Anyway, so one of the issues here is you should use if when you are making conditional phrases. If it rains, I get wet. If you're simply trying to list two different possible outcomes, whether is the more appropriate construction. And when you use whether, as we have in choice B and C, you never need to have whether or not. Whether already means which of two, and so you don't need to list the other one because the or not is basically built in to the word whether. It's not wrong grammatically or stylistically in real English to include the or not. It can be more emphatic in some ways, but on the GMAT you never need or not, so we can actually get rid of that one right away, and we can get rid of if. Well, let's look at the other ones here. So the success of the research project depends on whether the results of the 6-month experiment, I suppose it could be the experiment just in the 6th month, sorry. Anyway, the success of the research project depends on whether the results of the 6-month experiment support the early hypothesis. Okay, that sounds okay. D, the success of the research project depends on results of the 6th-month experiment for supporting the early hypothesis. The success depends on the results for supporting. See, the success isn't trying to support the early hypothesis, so this one actually changes the meaning of the sentence. Choice E, the success of the research project depends on the results of the 6-month experiment for the supporting of, and again this does the same thing. Right, so we don't actually need the 6-month experiment or the success of the research project for the supporting of the early hypothesis. That actually only leaves us choice B. Let's just read it back in. The success of the research project depends on whether the results of the 6-month experiment support the early hypothesis. That makes sense. Choice B.